Hey guys, welcome back. Drip Coach here with Drip and Farm for Poverty, where we don't just we verify integrity and transparency. Today we got a clip from Tom Lee, financial analyst and co-founder of Fundstrat Global Advisors. He's got over 25 years in equity research and was one of the original Wall Street strategists to provide formal research and coverage that gained me attention, stating that Bitcoin would 250K by end of this year. So he's been on multiple news streams. Here he is on CNBC. And the one piece that I really want to dial in that he's talking about on here is about the Fed becoming dovish and what that does for BTC. So the TLDR, I told you guys this before, BTC at this stage, in my humble opinion, only cares about liquidity. So it doesn't move as much with just talk now, with even just uncertainty in the markets. It's only moving if money is coming into it. And that's what we want. We want it to be this stable, unfazed, long-term store of value, maybe eventually, peer-to-peer cash, says Satoshi white paper. So this is great to me, listening to, again, someone smarter than me, macroeconomics, financial analyst, all this other kind of stuff, pointing towards this same thing and then looking at where we're at with current economic policy and Fed. So let's take a listen.
Their view is correct, right? That's a speculative bubble. There's a speculative bubble that inflation is coming back. And there's a speculative bubble that we are on the precipice of a recession, because that is probably the most common conversation I have with clients. And every Zoom I've done with an institutional account, always 5 minutes in, someone's like, Tom, how come you're ignoring all the risks out there? Don't you realize we could already be in a recession? So I think there's speculative excess in the fact that we're in a recession.
Negativity.
Yes, just like there was a bubble of pessimism after GFC. Remember, from 2009 all the way through 2019, it was a bubble that another financial crisis was coming.
Well,
it was a bubble of pessimism.
So that's something to reflect on, and it's a great opportunity for us, especially if you're watching this now and you are staying humble, stack sats. Tom is talking with other financial analysts, other big money, other like people on Wall Street, strategists, things of that nature, and they're still shell-shocked. They still think this is a speculative bubble. So they're not allocating yet, maybe 1%, or some of them still aren't even able to get in at all. And that's what the host just mentioned. He's like, well, rightfully so, they should have PTSD from this. And Tom is saying that this is basically overemphasized, or they're overly fearful, and the kind of tailwind risk is behind us. But the longer that they stay fearful is the better the opportunity for folks like us, the small fish, small shrimp, to accumulate, because the big moves haven't been made yet. Like, we can look at Bitcoin right now sitting at 118, and basically, well, I take that back. I was about to say this whole year is kind of bounced around 100, but about 3 months ago, you had an opportunity to get it at 70. So that's kind of a lie. But the point is, what is that? November, we've gone up since November 65%. I got that right. Take this one. So since the election, 90%. So at a total of 90%. So we were at 65,000 on Bitcoin in November. The candle wick down there. So yeah, it's pretty much hit a double in just the 9 months or so that the election took place. That still could be expensive to some, but the fact that it's still just around this 100K range is really what I'm pointing at, is that it is finding a lot of support here, and it's still a good buying opportunity for, a small bag holders. So we're not completely priced out yet. And I don't think you're ever going to get priced out, because it's going to always be more valuable. But as it starts getting into the 250, 500, 1 million a coin kind of criteria, people start looking at it going, why am I going to buy a fraction of this? I'll go, further on the risk curve and get the shit token. So I understand that, but at this stage, it's still, I feel, a great opportunity. And the fact that, again, we haven't got to the next clip yet, but that the Fed hasn't cut rates, and that the market is still waiting specifically for liquidity, even though there's liquidity sloshing around from Canada and China and Europe. It's really waiting on the US dollar. And that, again, gives you guys ample opportunity to stack sats.
See, Tom, I mean, that was just not a regular occurrence.
Correct. That's right. And the market today has PTSD of trade and the Fed. The Fed is on hold, but the Fed will resume cutting once they're confident inflation is not a problem with the tariffs. Now, I don't know the date that starts, but if the Fed becomes dovish, that's more central bank liquidity. That should benefit the financials. It benefits small caps, which are highly correlated to that trade, the regional banks, but it also benefits the cryptocurrency complex because that is highly sensitive to central bank liquidity. So I think the banks and the financials and small caps and the cryptos kind of move when the Fed becomes dovish. The financials have recovered, but they still haven't.
As of this video, we have not had the Fed FOMC meeting for the 29th or 30th or 31st. Let me see. I am recording this video on the 28th evening. So this meeting has not come up yet. And let me check on the actual update. Will that be publicized? How'd that lawsuit go? Well, looks like the judge rejected their request. So shout out to Brock. Says on July 28th, the U.S. District Judge Powell held an emergency hearing but rejected the request, ruling the FOMC is not a government agency subject to the Sunshine Act. The lawsuit continues as Powell did not dismiss the case entirely. So that means this meeting will continue and behind closed doors, and we'll get the meeting minutes as we always have. So back to what Tom Lee was saying, we could get a signal in this meeting. They're not going to cut rates here, but a signal that rate cuts are coming. I think right now the market is pricing in 50 basis points for September, if I'm not mistaken. And we have seen the president and other members of the board and stuff like that trying to put heat on the Fed, and basically everybody just going for Powell's throat, saying that we should be cutting rates. And that's also, again, a little bit of what Tom Lee's going to mention, that it's like the market right now, there is no logic as to why they haven't cut rates. So everybody's signaling for the same thing. And it does kind of feel as though Powell is just playing political chat with Trump and kind of refusing to cut rates. But either way, back to my original statement, Bitcoin only cares about liquidity. We might hear it in these meeting minutes, but we will definitely start to see rate cuts by the end of the year. And if not, when when Powell is out early next year. So either way, Bitcoin's going to continue to do what Bitcoin does. And the longer it chops, the better your opportunity. And when it blows the top, you're going to wish you had a stack and collected more.
Haven't become expensive. And that's because there's another lever that gets pulled. When you cut rates, then mortgages become affordable and it actually expands the credit cycle. And keep in mind, the ISM has been below 50 for 29 months. That's the longest stretch in the ISM's history. So I think we actually, to Chris's point, if the Fed starts cutting, I actually think we have a cyclical recovery that is good for cyclical stock. We have 15 million household formations in the past 10 years and only 13 million homes built. So we have a shortage of housing that's worsened because interest rates are high, that is actually causing home prices to stay elevated. So I think there's a policy problem. And the other thing to ask is, if inflation's at 1.8 and core PCE is at 2 and the Fed's at 4.5, it's very difficult for the Fed to explain why they are keeping real interest rates high, which really hurts consumers. So I think there's other policy measures that can be done to slow the economy, including the fact that there's all these tariffs in terms of
So that is the final piece de resistance. It's like, yeah, the numbers are screaming that we should have lower rates. And that's what Tom was talking about. CPI and true inflation are all in the twos. Why are we sitting at 4 and some change? And I think Trump even said we should be dropping by at least 3. So one way or another, Bitcoin will sniff out this liquidity, and the liquidity train is coming. Like, it's inevitable. So that was the main TLDR of this video, is that you still have plenty of ample time to stack sats. And Bitcoin at 100K is a gift. You're going to wish you had more. It could still drop down, a little lower, like whatever. But I'm in the camp that believe, once we start breaking above, say 200, call it 250, I believe this will become the floor, this 100 range. Like, I don't see us getting back into below 6 figures, because all of these Bitcoin treasury companies are the ones stacking sats right now at the 100 level. So if they can raise capital right now and Bitcoin goes up 250, they're going to raise more capital, buy more Bitcoin at that stage. And it takes so much more Bitcoin being sold or liquidated to move the needle back 60, 70, 80%. And I believe personally that after the over leveraged paper Bitcoin FTX Celsius BlockFi debacle, I don't believe that that's going to happen again this time. Now, the new belief is that it could be treasury companies that blow up, but Strategy holds the most Bitcoin, and the way that they've got leverage built in is that there's no margin calls. So if they don't blow up, then all the other ones combined don't even have a fraction of what Strategy has. So to me, there's little to no possibility of it coming back down to below six figures. But we'll see. Either way, all I'm going to do is stay humble, stack sats, DCA. I'm not trying to sell my Bitcoin, and I'm not trying to time at the bottom or the top. Care less. I just want to buy as much as I can every day. All right, smash that HBO special, help brother out. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.